Wondering, with your jam-packed schedule, how difficult is it for you to listen to your doctor and actually follow orders?
Yeah, it's really hard. I've got to be honest because the sort of life and job of an MP is quite unique, I think, and you can pedal as fast as you like, and there'll still be further to go and more to do, and so you have to make a real conscious effort to think about, I guess, your well-being and how long you're going to keep this up for. I must say, I've been incredibly lucky. I feel I'm not in pain anymore. I have a lack of movement and a lack of feeling in my hand and all the rest of it, but I'm okay. I really am, and it's quite frustrating having to sort of take it easy when you feel like you can do more, but it is what it is, and it'll all be over in a month.
You touched on health and well-being there, and you've spoken about PTSD and mental health many times. What do you do to help you unwind? I noticed on your social media feeds, cold water swimming is a thing.
It is, yeah. Look, I make no bones about it. I try and do as much as I can outdoors. I think I come from the place of recognizing that I'm not very good at basically being a politician and the sort of desk driving life and all the rest of it. And so for me, it is about doing as much as you possibly can outside. And whenever I do fitness or whatever, anything like that, I mean, I'm older now, and the idea of doing it to any particular standard is for the birds. But I almost exclusively do it for my mental health, and I can't recommend it enough. Yeah, open water swimming, whatever it may be, flying around in my paramotor or going running or a bit of surfing or whatever it may be. I can't encourage it enough. And luckily down here in Plymouth, we've got it all on our doorstep. So I'm well catered for in that respect. But yeah, it's got to be done. Otherwise, I think jobs like these become unworkable.
Good to know that you believe in self-care, Johnny. I wanted to give veterans organisations an opportunity to put questions to you, so put it out to them on social media. Norman, he's keen to find out your stance on the crisis support available right now. He's seen a huge increase in demand.
Yeah, look, I think we're going through a particularly difficult phase. The collapse in Afghanistan definitely precipitated a significant uptick in demand for these services. I mean, certainly when I was in the role, I used to keep a very close eye on op courage and referrals to op courage, and crucially, the sort of time between referral and how quickly people were getting seen. It's a constant challenge, and hopefully, ministers who are currently imposed are across that and making sure that the demand is being met. We've got to look out for each other. We've got to support each other. There is a lot of help available out there. I've mentioned One Up Courage there, but in the third sector as well, there's some brilliant programs. You can get better, you can be okay, you can live a fulfilling life. But you've got to seek help, and you've got to reach out, and you've got to talk about it and not be ashamed to talk about it. And I'd always encourage people to do that. Does it concern me? Yes, of course it concerns me. It concerns me deeply. It concerned me very much 18 months ago, and we particularly had a spike in suicides amongst those who'd served in Afghanistan at a particular time. I try and keep across all this and do everything I possibly can. But look, it's a team effort, and we've all got to help each other.
A number of people have mentioned the 40th anniversary of the Falklands War is at the forefront of most people's minds right now because they lost loved ones during that conflict. How have you been marking that?
Well, we had some services down here in Plymouth. So what I try and do actually is always go to the local ones down here, because obviously Plymouth's quite a long way from London, so it doesn't get a lot of the kind of big visitors, but actually has made like a disproportionate contribution to this nation's defences. And that wasn't seen more than in the Falklands War, when essentially the whole city mobilised. You had families saying goodbye to thousands of loved ones who deployed on the task force. The dockyard got the boats ready. The merchant shipping and so on, a lot of it came from Plymouth. It's conflict is a huge part of the tapestry of the character of Plymouth, and I love being here for those big occasions and speaking to Falklands veterans, and it's just great to be able to listen to their experiences. I think conflicts are very different. I think the characteristics remain the same around fear and all the rest of it, but the weapons and how long quickly you can get people out of who've been injured and so on is it's really fascinating talking to people who grappled with similar challenges during their time in service, and how they were different, and how they've sort of moved on with their life as well.
The Queen's Platinum Jubilee celebrations, just wow, the armed forces really shone on the world stage. And we're leading up to Armed Forces Day, and it's a time again for us to pay tribute.
Yeah, Yeah. I mean, look, it's like the common thread that went through all of those celebrations, and it's a constant in our national life is the military and the values and the ethos they uphold, and that was on display throughout the weekend. I was incredibly proud of what everybody did. There's a level of professionalism there that really sets the standard for everybody else. And look, I was really pleased to see it happening. Do you want me to get rid of that by any chance?
Busy man, get rid of it because we're going to keep this video rolling as live.
Good. Oh, brilliant. Okay, that's embarrassing.
Good excuse. No, it's good. People can see what's going on. Busy man.
Okay.
So let's go back to our first interview in 2020. You were speaking about the difficulties of being a minister back then and change not happening quick enough in the areas you were focusing on for veterans. How's that improved since becoming a backbencher?
Look, I've achieved far more as a backbencher than I did as a minister. I mean, clearly it shouldn't be like that, right? And being actually a government minister responsible for veterans affairs, you should be in a position to do all that stuff. But, I've worked out in politics. I'm not there to sort of make friends and talk about what a great job I do or what other people do. Actually, I'm there specifically to get results for the people who need me to, whether they're in Plymouth or whether they're an armed forces veteran. And look, I totally accept the criticism. I get criticised by my colleagues in Westminster. I get criticised by others who've done it a different way. But I would venture to suggest that the record of what we've achieved speaks for itself. Have we done everything I wanted to? Absolutely not. About 30% of the way there. But if you look at things like the Northern Ireland legislation that's coming in now, that problem's existed for 25 years and no one else has fought this through in 25 years. The Office of Veterans Affairs, the first UK Office of Veterans Affairs, the fact we've got that is fantastic. Obviously, it's not in the shape I want it to be, but I will keep working at that. So we do make significant strides. It is just really tough in politics. It's really tough. People talk a very good game around veterans. They always have. It's about kind of pushing it that little bit further to ask, to stop going on about how much we treasure our veterans and talk about what it's like to be a veteran in the UK and whether these services are actually fit for purpose and whether, you can access them and so on. There's some brilliant services in the UK, but it does miss that kind of joined up government-led priority approach that I will keep badgering away at until we get there.
You mentioned Northern Ireland, that very contentious subject, especially with regards to those prosecutions. You travelled with Dennis Hutchings during those proceedings, supporting his family following his death. You continue to support other soldiers in the same way. You seem to give your all when you commit to something.
Yeah, I think it's really important to. I think, the thing is with Dennis, right, is that, it was 47 years afterwards and his unit supported him at the time and then the issue went away. But then, for the last 13, 14 years, ever since he was, arrested at 6 a.m. in his family home down in Corsan, he has felt totally alone. And so, I think people will criticize me for that, and that's fine. But I, made a commitment to that individual that he wouldn't be on his own going through this process anymore. And I was going to do whatever it took. And I think, I know it meant a lot to him. It's an unpleasant process. It's a deeply unpleasant process. And in the end, it killed him. And that again has shaped me and my politics. I'm always sort of getting in trouble for being, fairly candid about the situation. But I mean, that was an absolute disgrace, right? And everyone said it was a disgrace, but no one was quite willing to do anything about it until I came along. So, I accept the criticism for it, but I'm afraid, we owe a duty to these people like Dennis or, the people we bring home from Afghanistan. And, irrespective of what everyone else does, I will see it through because I know that's what the majority of people do as well. You look at what you've done here, Emma, setting this up. People love the armed forces in this country. They really get it. It's always been a problem trying to get government aligned with that. And I'll keep going down that track.